welcome to VOP Business Show. I'm Joy Adesua Iromoseli. The former Statistician General of the Federation and Chief Executive Officer of the National Bureau of Statistics, Dr. Yemi Kale, has said he resisted the urge to further change the country's unemployment data gathering methodology during his time as head of statistics body. He spoke barely a week after the NBS released new data that put employment at 4.1%. The agency had put unemployment at 33% in Q4 2020. He noted that the committee in charge of reviewing the minimum number of work hours to count as employed felt 1 hour did not make sense because income generated within that time frame was not necessarily livable. He further stated that the income generated from 20 hours of work in Nigeria would equate to that made from working 1 hour in the US. He opined that the most important point of data is to give policymakers the tools that they need to understand the problems, prefer solutions, and monitor the impact of those problems. According to him, the unemployment figures from the NBS have always been in line with the international benchmark. He explained that in many of the countries that pushed for the new standard, 1 hour of work made sense. He argued that what the International Labour Organization has set is a base guideline and countries can tweak around it to suit whatever their needs are. Kale explained that before 20 hours was set as the benchmark under his watch, the NBS defined unemployment as anything above 40 hours and more because Nigerians policymakers were promising Nigerians full-time employment and needed to know if they were performing considering that. Reacting to the ex-NBS boss's comment, the head of Communications and Public Relations Department of the National Bureau of Statistics, Wakili Ibrahim, said the new methodology was in line with international standards. According to him, there are some Nigerians who earn from working for just 1 hour, and this set of Nigerians need to be captured in the data. The NBS communications head also alleged that the NBS was in a bad state under the former Statistician General, which he described as worst performing. He alleged that the former NBS boss was not ready to leave after 10 years, but was forced out, which likely triggered his comment against the statistics body. Recent findings suggest that no fewer than 88.2% of working-age Nigerians lack salary-paying jobs. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics showed that only about 11.8% of working-age Nigerians were engaged in wage employment in the first quarter of 2023. According to the asksource.info, wage employment include any salaried or paid job under contract, written or not, to another person, organization, or enterprise in both formal or informal economies. The NBS also disclosed that there was a decrease of 1.6% points in the percent of wage employment from 13.4% in Q4 2022 to 11.8% in Q1 2023. The Nigeria Labour Force Survey for the fourth quarter of 2022 and first quarter of 2023 report by the NBS said the share of wage employment was 13.4% in Q4 2022 and 11.8% in Q1 2023. However, the NBS did not provide a value for the total number of working-age Nigerians, unlike in its previous report. In 2020, the NBS placed Nigeria's working-age population at 122 million. The NBS further disclosed that most Nigerians are self-employed and only a few percent have a wage job. The federal government yesterday has stated that all the frontline states on the path of River Benue may experience flooding within the next 7 days as a result of the opening of Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. Speaking at the briefing in Abuja, held at the instance of the Presidential Committee set up by President Bola Tinubu, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, noted that the new committee would implement various policies and rescue missions aimed at mitigating the impact of the flood from Lagdo Dam. She urged the Nigerian Governors Forum to step up actions by ensuring the immediate evacuation of Nigerians from flood-prone communities to safer destinations. The Minister of Environment, Isiaq Salako, as well as the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, joining the humanitarian ministry during the briefing and promised to intensify efforts against devastating impacts of floods. The Ministry of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, disclosed that the federal government has no intention to borrow from any local or foreign organization. He spoke with State House correspondents at the end of the inaugural Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday in Abuja. Edun stated that the benefits of petrol subsidy removal would be plowed back into various sectors in order to boost government revenue and improve the business environment. Edun noted that the President Bola Tinubu-led administration inherited a bad economy with an unacceptable high rate of unemployment and inflation. There are indications that commercial banks and merchant banks are increasingly dependent on the Central Bank of Nigeria for liquidity as their borrowing from the Apex Bank has intensified in the last 8 months in 2023. Aside from August 2023 ending this week, commercial banks and merchant banks borrowed a total of 12.46 trillion naira from the central bank during the first 8 months of this year, according to the CBN data accessed by our correspondent. The financial institutions had, in the first 8 months of 2022, borrowed 6.96 trillion naira from the central bank, representing an increase of 79%. Commercial banks and merchant bank access lending from the Apex Bank using standard lending facility window and deposit cash with the Apex Bank using standard deposit facility window. According to the findings, banks during the first 8 months of 2023 accessed the SLF window against the backdrop of CBN's tightening monetary policy stance. The CBN data revealed that between January and June this year, commercial banks and merchant banks borrowed 10.25 trillion naira from the CBN via SLF window, an increase of 138% year-on-year from 4.3 trillion naira borrowed during the corresponding period of H1 2022. The CBN data showed that the first quarter figure, which stood at 4.95 trillion naira, was higher than the half-year data for 2022. The monthly breakdown revealed that commercial banks and merchant banks in January borrowed 528.16 billion naira from the CBN, but the figure dropped to 453.7 billion naira in February 2023. The exchange rate between the naira and the US dollar, according to the data released on the FMDQ Security Exchange, the official forex trading portal, showed that the naira opened at 768.83 naira per dollar on Monday, August 28, and closed at 772 naira per dollar on Monday. Recall that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Wednesday, 14th June 2023, announced the unification of all segments of the forex exchange market. In a circular, the CBN said all FX windows are now collapsed into the investors and exporters window. And that's all on VOP Business Show on VOP TV. We would like for you to subscribe and engage with us on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV and on all the social media channels at VOP TV Live. I'm Joy Adesua Eramoseli. Many thanks for watching.